Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing?
No. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I think she's hilarious right now with her straight for just no, it doesn't. And she's so right. Good for her, good for her. And the thing is, like, Joy Reid was definitely reaching for that one, definitely reaching. I wanted to come back to the story just to show how much, like, these people, some of them, they get so bad with it, with the lies and gaslighting, that even the ones that aren't that much the greatest are calling them out. Now, I don't necessarily come for TYT and say that they're horrible. They're not necessarily horrible, but they have their issues too. But Joy Reid is on a whole different level.
I mean, are you serious, Joy? Are you serious? I mean, these MSNBC hosts look totally unhinged. Several of them, including Joy Reid, were questioning if the event was staged in a sense. They're like, oh, it's a really weird coincidence. What's going on? And look at what she said. For 9 seconds was allowed to do a photo. He's the president of the United States. He just got shot. And
former president of the United States.
Yeah, I got you. But the former presidents are still called president.
Right.
And so you're begrudging him putting up his fist after he got shot. First of all, that's just nuts. Second of all, any of these things like, oh, isn't it curious how they stage things? No, you're egging on people on your side to think crazy things.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, Michael Steele did the same thing, again, on MSNBC.
Yeah, so we can't do the whole stage. Like, it's kind of weird to me. Like, I've been hearing, people were really saying that. And what's even more funny about this is that there was an attempted assassination on a former president. And we're not really talking about it today. We're not. The media headlines are more about Trump is weird, Vance is weird, Tim Walz, and something about some weird thing about cow milk or cow semen or something. I don't know. Just move on. Everything is just so instant. There's no stop. We're never gonna know who was behind it. They told us Iran was behind it. They keep trying to push that narrative. I wonder why, right? But when people were talking about this, like the whole thing about like, oh, he moved his, so like he knew the minute to hear the pop, they're like, all right, now I'm gonna move this way. Is that what we're really saying?
Starting to really sound like the MAGA version, on the Democratic side, for sure. And then what kind of lunatic thing is it to say, oh, you got COVID, you got shot, it's the same thing? No, it's not. I had COVID a couple of weeks ago. It was a normal cold. So COVID now is, especially if you're, I get it, he's 81, and it's a little bit more of a risk. And God knows what happened. I hope nothing happens to President Biden. And something could happen. But getting a cold is not the same thing as getting shot in the head.
I love how everybody's saying what I was saying 2 years ago. What was it, 2 years ago, guys? Like 3 years ago, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you're embarrassing yourself by saying ridiculous things like this. And unfortunately, Anna, they've kind of trained their audience to want this. They want some sort of criticism of Donald Trump under any and all circumstances. But guys, there's a billion things to criticize him on policy and the other crazy stuff he does. And when you criticize him on those things, you lose credibility when you also criticize him for how he got shot.
Thanks. But at the same time, Cenk does the same thing too. Like he'll go nuts and be like, Donald Trump's a crazy guy. He's crazy. And it's like, Cenk, chill out. It's not really that crazy. Like, oh, bro, relax, right? By the way, guys, if you like these videos, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and the notification bell. Thank you always for watching.
I've been doing this for a long time. And I remember when I first started working at TYT, there was one cable news channel, Fox News, that was very clearly partisan, very clearly dishonest in their framing, deceptive in what they were telling their audiences. And since then, unfortunately, that virus has spread to all other forms of media, including.
I don't think that Fox News necessarily was the first one. I know, and you guys drop a comment, let me know. I know that Fox News, like the creator of it, was pushing for a bill I saw the movie Vice. It was pushing for a bill where you could have networks that were like more leaning to a certain side or something like that. But I want to feel like, I mean, like I think that Fox News still started off by giving just a little bit more information than CNN and everybody else used to give. But I could be wrong, guys. Let me know in the comments if this is true, what I'm saying.
Left-wing media, MSNBC. And so I don't have a problem with them criticizing Trump at all. We criticize Trump on this show. What I have a problem with is the way that they frame things, the way they omit certain details and certain stories. It's not helpful, and it creates these ideological bubbles in the country where rather than finding common ground with both sides, we all hate each other. There's always division. It's always toxic. And I feel like it's leading the country in a really, really bad direction. What she said there was just, she said it with a straight face. I can't believe she said it. I'd be so embarrassed if I was on the record saying something like that. But anyway.
Yeah, but like I said, these people, they all kind of, it becomes a little hypocritical, Again, she's right. The American people deserve some balance. My God. They deserve some balance. It's been imbalanced since Trump came on. But some people will say since Obama, maybe second term Obama, maybe first term. I was a lot younger then, so I certainly was not paying attention. And I just wanted to vote in a Black president. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I learned a lot from these kind of experiences in life, obviously. But it's just been so polarized for so long. But for me, I think I saw it even more with Trump because it was like the media was against Trump. And with Obama, it was more like people would talk trash about Obama, or maybe Rush Limbaugh might have said something. But not everybody was watching Rush Limbaugh. But like with the media, it's like literally every media, besides Fox News, obviously, they would. This is why I believe for 3 years that Trump wanted to put us back in chains as a Black person, right? So anyway, so that's a problem. So I agree with her there, but she's also made weird accusations about Jimmy Dore, and I never really did forget that. Drop a comment below if you guys remember that. So everybody's just doing this to everybody. Like, it's like, how long until we just chill out?
As we know, yesterday it was confirmed that President Biden tested positive for COVID. This is the third time in the past 2 years that he has tested positive for COVID. Here's what he wrote on Twitter. I tested positive for COVID-19 this afternoon, but I am feeling good and thank everyone for the well wishes. I will be isolating as I recover, and during this time, I will continue to work to get the job done for the American people. Now, during MSNBC's coverage of the RNC yesterday, former White House press secretary Jen Psaki argued that it's actually going to be pretty difficult for Biden to show Democrats that he's up to the task. And that is what ultimately led to Joy Reid's interjection. Let's watch.
They have a more immediate challenge right now, which is projecting to the Democratic Party he's inevitable and he's up to this job.
Yeah, well, here's the question that I have on that. These two men are both elderly. Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing? That he's strong enough, older than Trump, to have gotten something that used to really be fatal to people his age. So if he does fine out of it and comes back and is able to do rallies, isn't that exactly the same? I mean, it's not exactly the same. It's not the same incident, but it's an elderly man coming through out of an illness.
It should.
Joy Reid sounds like a really dumb person. She always has that miserable look on her face. I believe she is from, is it Guyana or Grenada? One of them, she's really not even, I don't know. Anyway, she can never get the hairstyle right. Whatever. But I protect my crown, whatever that nonsense is about. Joy Reid sounds ridiculous. She's saying 2 older men had things happen to them and it's the same. I mean, how ridiculous can you be? How like, you sound uneducated.
It's funny because Jen Psaki's face was like, what are you saying? Please stop talking. But then she says it should.
Of course, she doesn't want to embarrass her colleague there, but I mean, it was a huge cringe moment. Look, I don't think that the MSNBC hosts understand how unhinged they sound, and they lost the thread a long time ago. And so, guys, remember, it's a dozen years ago that I'm at MSNBC as a host, and they tell me specifically, don't criticize Democrats. So that's the nature of this network. That's the culture of this network, and that's literally the guidelines of this network. So if you do that for another dozen years after I left, this is the end result, where they're so ensconced in their own bubble that they think, well, doesn't everyone irrationally just hate Donald Trump? And because there's, as I've said 100 times, there's plenty of rational reasons to hate Donald Trump. But when you get into the irrational and like, oh yeah, no big deal that he got shot in the ear. Oh yeah, missed his and killed him. Could have killed him if it went an inch the other way. No big deal. It's like getting a guy having a cold. Same thing. You sound ridiculous.
Okay,
you sound like a lunatic.
You just touched on something that I've been wanting to articulate on the show for some time now. Now's a perfect time to say it, guys. I don't want Democrats to turn into everything they hate about their political opponents, and I feel like that's what's happening.
It's already. What are you talking about? What is she like? Wait a minute. Where am I at? What is she like? 6 years too late? Like what? Like you're definitely 3 years too late. What did she turn into? My God, can you imagine? I lived in America during Donald Trump presidency, and I didn't get to enjoy it until the last year of his presidency because the media, the left-wing owned media, right, was so anti-Trump that I didn't know anything that was going on except for the fact that, oh, Trump was racist. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, and they're the ones, they peddled the Russia collusion story, right? The Russia hoax, the Russia. This is why, and they try to come at Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore was like, this is not true. I can tell it's not true. I don't have to like him. I can tell it's not true. And they were right there with the crazy stuff too. Don't come here being a Johnny come lately and say some real ridiculous thing like that. We're getting to, they've already become those people. Now it is up to the American people as a grassroots movement or something, I don't know, somehow to come back and get the balance back where everybody, no matter on what side they are, can point to something and say, we need this to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. Our borders, inflation, our Department of Education, our CDC, federal, everything needs to be everything. We need a detox in our government. We do. We need a serious detox. That's what it's called. We are inflated. Our government is so inflated. Okay? So all of this right here, like, again, the Johnny come latelys, please, okay? Like, thank you for, calling out MSNBC, but y'all, please, y'all are all about this too. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.